Hello, I'm Ruby. I'm an artist and I'm working in collaboration with the Sculpture Placement Group on the Floating Head project. The Floating Head is a giant floating sculpture that has been sitting on a boatyard on the Clyde since the Garden Festival in 1988, where it was floated down the Clyde. The Sculpture Placement Group are working together to conserve the sculpture and to relaunch it later this year. Today I'm going to show you how to make a mini floating sculpture using things that you can find around you, hopefully maybe in your garden or in the park, and some other materials that you hopefully have at home. So I'll show you an example of one that I've made already. You can see one side and the other. And this is all made from bamboo sticks, which create a floating base. Bamboo is a really good material because it floats very easily, it's hollow. But you can also use sticks because they also float very well and they're easy to get your hands on as well in the parks and stuff. And I've made my sculpture on top with bits of cardboard shapes that I've cut out and painted, and I've created some different layers with the different shapes, which is quite interesting to look at. It's a very simple material, cardboard, but you can do a lot with it. So the materials you'll need for the activity are some sticks. These are quite small, about the size, a wee bit bigger than my hand. So you'll need about 10 of these, this size, roughly. Or you can use bamboo as an alternative. Both are very good materials. You can find them quite easily. You will need some cardboard that you can paint on, draw and paint on your shapes. We'll create some of our own sort of cardboard shapes. You'll need a glue gun for sticking everything together, because this is strong hot glue. That's something you might not have so easily, but hopefully you can get your hands on one. You'll also need some string or some twine and some tapes. I've got a good range of coloured tapes here, but you can use any tapes you like, really. Colourful ones are quite nice. Some scissors and your glue sticks for your glue gun, and some paints. The paintbrush for painting your cardboard pieces. Yeah, and you also need some lolly sticks like this. These are quite thick ones. If you've got the normal size thin ones, you could just put a couple of them together. This is going to be to bind your floating base. We stick these on the top and the bottom just to strengthen it. You can also use a stick. You know, if you don't find you've got any lolly sticks. So we're going to start with making our floating base, and this is a little like a raft. So you'll need some of your string, a good length. First of all, I'm going to start binding my sticks together. So you want to tie a knot around one end of your first stick. Just tie it tight in a knot. A little loop of string around there, like so. And then what we're going to do is take one stick at a time and wrap around in a loop. Maybe a couple of times for extra strength. So we're going to keep wrapping all of our sticks together in a little row. And this takes a little bit of time. Just at the end now. And then you'll need to tie it in a knot at the end. So trim your string. And then you just want to tie it to itself. It's a wee bit fiddly. Just tie it off so that it can't unravel. And then you're going to do the same thing again for the other side of the sticks. Close up. And it'll feel a bit flimsy right now, but you know, when we add string to the other side and then we add some glue too, it'll be a lot stronger. So you've strung all your pieces together, all your sticks together, top and bottom, like so. Now I'm gonna use the glue gun and glue them together in between to strengthen them a bit more as well. If you find you're short of time or you are feeling a bit lazy, then you could just cut out the string bit and glue them together. Glue all the sticks together, plenty of glue. So I'm just trying to avoid gaps between the sticks and get them as close together as possible. Okay, so we've glued everything in place. And the last thing we're going to do on our base at the moment now is stick these lolly sticks on, just for extra strength. If you don't have lolly sticks, you can just use regular sticks or bamboo. I've got bamboo. So you'll need 4. I'm going to stick 2 on the top side with the glue gun. Sticking it along where you've put your string between the sticks. Like that. Make sure you've got quite a lot of glue on it. Okay, so I've got one either end. One at the top, one at the bottom. And then I'm going to flip it and do the underside too. So you've glued all of your floating base together now. It's all well stuck and that is ready to go. So we can put that aside for now. And then we're going to work on our sculpture for the top. So you'll need your cardboard pieces and a pencil to draw out your shapes and your paints at hand as well. Let's have a look at this one again. So this is a series of of layers. You can see a bit better there. It's lots of layers of cardboard. And this is almost a bit like an eye. It reminds me of an eye. This piece is actually a hand that's been drawn round with some other bits stuck on top. On this side we've just got some other shapes that are maybe like resemble things that you might find in water or in rivers. And this looks a little bit like a boat, I'd say, and this really reminds me of a fish fin. So you're free to make whatever shapes you like, really. This is just to show you the kinds of things that I was thinking about. This one, I think I'm going to maybe think about face features. I think I'm going to draw an eye. So I'm drawing the outline of my shape there. It's like a big eye. I'm keeping it quite simple. And then I'm going to do a nose. Doesn't have to look exactly like anything. It can be whatever you like. I'm going to do a mouth as well, actually. Something a bit like that. And then I might just do I'm going to do another smaller eye. And maybe something that's a little bit like an eyebrow. And then you want to cut your shapes out with your scissors. You can make as many shapes as you want, really. Okay, so I've cut out all my shapes. Eyes, mouths, eyebrows, noses. You can do whatever shapes you like and just have fun with it. This is the fun bit. Complete freedom to do what you want, really. Create any shapes you like. Experiment. So I'm going to paint them now. So we've painted all our shapes and they're dry. I painted both sides, which is probably a good idea because you see the sculpture from both sides. So I've painted different colours on both sides. Now you can start to play around with how you want to arrange them on your float. So before we glue them in, you can play around with positioning and stuff at the moment, but I'm going to put a little bit of tape on the bottom of each of my pieces, and this is going to keep the edge that I glue into the float a little bit more watertight. So I'll try and show you here. I'm just taking this is some duct tape, which is quite a strong sticky tape. You can use normal sellotape as well. And I'm just sticking half of the piece onto one side, and then I'm going to fold the other half underneath and round the other side. This is just going to provide a little bit more water resistance, which is helpful. The other thing you could do is paint your pieces in PVA. Once you've put the coloured paint on, you put PVA on top, and that also provides some extra water resistance. Just trimming the edges as well. These little corners off like that. Just to neaten it up a bit. And it just has to be along the edge that you're going to be sticking your shape. Once you've decided on a position for it, I'm going to stick mine like that. So the bottom edge, the edge that's closest to the sticks and the water. So I've got all my pieces taped along the bottom edge that I'm going to stick into the float, like that. And I've kind of decided where they're going to go now. So I'm going to put this big eye in the middle. So just using your glue gun, just glue it along this bottom edge. And then you just want to stick it in a ridge between two of the sticks on your base. And then I'm going to put my other parts in now, just deciding where they go. Yours will be different, obviously. But you can think about how to layer these pieces up. Think about what looks nice in front of the thing behind it. I cut a little hole out of the middle of this one. Using a craft knife, that might be a bit easier, but maybe get some help with a craft knife if you're going to use it, because they're very sharp. So this is when it really starts to come together, which is exciting. So that's mine so far. And it's nice because it looks different from both sides. So I've finished sticking mine together. All of it's in place now. It's looking good. Lots of colour and nice shapes. The big question is it gonna float? So now it's test time. I've got a little basin of water here in front of me. You can just maybe fill your sink or your bath. You can try it wherever really. Maybe you've got a pond in your garden, or maybe you could try it somewhere in the park. Anyway, let's see what happens. Yes! It floats. You can spin it around. Hopefully you can see this fairly well. It's working pretty well. So hopefully yours will be doing the same. Thanks for joining us today in this workshop. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it would be lovely to see some of the miniature floating sculptures that you've made. So I hope you can share them with us. Send us some photos or videos.